P.O.C. The entity is gang stalking by helicopter. There you go. Gang stalking by helicopter flying over the apartment building. That's exactly what they were doing at 11:40 in the morning with the demon in unit number 42 while the fake sun was over this apartment building, as I documented. And as you'll recall, that video of the Ontario police being demons, gang stalking using resources of the city, speaking to a citywide ongoing agenda to murder American citizens with hitmen like TRACEE Banks, who's on assignment to murder me, and doing so with the gang stalking police. That's why the Ontario police engaged in criminally defaming me. They did so in concert with the hitman TRACEE Banks, who is on assignment to try to murder me and do so maliciously with the gang stalkers at Woodside Senior Apartments. This is in concert with the demon in unit number 55, who is the amplified means of audible activity over my head, where the fake sun rises and sets, where engineered light appears on the cabinets in the depths of the apartment and fans off of the cabinets. This is the gang stalking police who engage in what is systematic murder and kidnapping, and having no authority under the law to actually engage in any of the activity that they're engaged in. They're engaged in criminal activity, domestic terrorism on video, and this is impunity that's also going against all of these co-conspirators to murder and the plot to murder. This is engineer light, my upright shadow, and here's my shadow on the ground as well. And there's more than one. Here you go. This is Ontario police that's gang stalking with all of these demons at this apartment. And they're also violent sex offenders because they're all monitoring my genitalia together, as is the sex offender, the hitman herself, TRACEE Banks. This video immediately follows what I was documenting on podcast right now. And that is speaking to what is the criminal monitoring by the entity, and the ongoing impunity by the Ontario Police Department and the Ontario International Airport is speaking to the disbanding and the removal of the Ontario International Airport. Okay, the entity is doing so with knowledge of everything that's being documented. That's speaking to the impunity of the government that is conspiring with a hitman, TRACEE Banks, to murder me, and then engages in more psychological torture, more stalking, more criminally threatening behaviors while I'm speaking to it, while I'm publishing it, while I'm exposing it to the public and exposing it to the feds. All right, this is what's putting TRACEE Banks in a mental asylum as well. She is indeed a hitman conspiring to murder me, her daughter, and she's doing so with the aid of the government. She's doing so with the aid of the people that stayed at Woodside Senior Apartments, and those over 55 are never sleeping on the job. All right, and you are gang stalking as of 8:47 p.m. in engineer light. All right, and this is where the fake sun rises and sets. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:51 p.m. The entity is doing so. Paul Leon is being removed from office. The police department, the city of Ontario, is gang stalking through the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department, and has been doing so for years. I've been documenting since 2018. Jason Knighton's going to federal prison because this is the criminal system he was engaged in when he kidnapped me on January 13th, 2020. Just like Lester Keys is going to federal prison, and he was acting in furtherance of murdering me with the hitman, TRACEE Banks. That's why they were kidnapping. They were gang stalking me in furtherance of murdering and criminally defaming me. And this is the system that they were engaging in, not exercising any legitimate authority under the law, while they were gang stalking with the people of the state like they are now. And that's why Lester Keys is going to federal prison. All right. Mike Lorenz has no future. None of them have any future. The Ontario Police Department is done with law enforcement. And this is giving context regarding what the Ontario International Airport is doing, gang stalking. This is what the Woodside Senior Apartments is doing, gang stalking. This is what AVANATH Capital Management is going to be prosecuted for, gang stalking. The Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Police Department, that's the city of Ontario, that's in violation of the Violence Against Women Act. And they're going to be prosecuted for that. And AVANATH Capital Management is going to be prosecuted for it. AVANATH is a gang stalking company. Its employees are gang stalking, which you clearly see as well. And they're all gang stalking with the police right now. That's a criminal act of retaliation and intimidation. And you shall not do so where an American citizen is enforcing their rights against a government that has no constitutionally or authority to conspire to murder them in concert with your relative, your friend, or anybody, even a stranger. But that's what TRACEE Banks represents. This is a hitman who's gang stalking with the police, who engaged in gang stalking in helicopter, as I published the evidence on my, using my device, documenting it and publishing it onto the internet, which is a well-documented pattern of conduct intending to obstruct justice. All right, every police department that's documented is engaging in this P.O.C. And this is a demon that's stalking, flying in circles. Very, very demonic. Very demonic, trying to hide behind the entity is doing so. The simultaneity of timing, the impossible light activity, the presence of the fake sun rising and setting here is an ongoing context regarding the malice of the illegitimate police department that's going to be shut down. And this is speaking to what is domestic terrorism and what is the supporting the evidence of removal from law enforcement for every employee of the Ontario Police Department. They're done with law enforcement. And they're wasting thousands of dollars on criminal activity. This is the audible activity creation. And this is that which the demons at Woodside Senior Apartments are acting in conformity to. That's also why they're going to prison. All right, and this is again the prosecution, Tracy Banks, the hitman, gang stalking me with the police. That's why she's going to a mental asylum. She's not getting out. This is the exact thing that I'm speaking about on the podcast. This is the exact same public entity acting with a hitman who's assigned to me, the closest in your family. That's the one that's going to murder you, and doing it with the cover of the corrupt government. That's gang stalking. This is impossible light activity. See that light, the shadow of the gate on the ceiling? The people that say are gang stalking, that's not light activity that's naturally occurring, creating that sort of shadow above your head, and neither is this. My shadow that's upright at a distance away from me. And they're doing so while I'm documenting on my device. This is federal stalking by the Ontario Police Department. That's the city of Ontario. That's the state of California. And the state of California is acting with Tracy Banks, a hitman who was on assignment to murder me with the government. Okay? And doing so with the police, that's speaking of federal prison. Everybody in units 33 to 64 are going to prison. All right? And as sure as the entity is providing evidence against them, that's as sure as they're going to prison. Stalking by the police does not help the people of the state. And the people of the state that are gang stalking with the police. P.O.C. The entity is going to produce the name of the demon that's pacing around Woodside Senior Apartments, aiding and criminally contributing to public corruption, engaging in a sex offense, acting with impunity with the intent to obstruct justice, trying to impede on an ongoing federal case against itself, doing so while you're engaged in federal stalking, while you're committing a sex offense and stalking a woman in violation of the Violence Against Women Act, and doing so as a matter of a pattern of conduct. They're all going to prison for that, what I just documented. And it's ongoing confirmation of what you're listening to on the podcast as well. It's currently, again, 9:55 p.m. The demons of the Ontario Police Department are going to produce the name of the demons that are gang stalking by helicopter because they're going to prison. And so are these demons at Woodside. This is P.O.C. Just want to be clear, that sort of helicopter activity will never cause the apartment to vibrate. It's not going to be heard. This is also a senior citizen complex where at what is 9:55 p.m., the demons are gang stalking in helicopter over, and the demon in unit 55 is beating on the floor right now. She's gang stalking with the police. She's going to a mental asylum. It's 9:55 while they're flying in circles over a senior citizen complex. So let's be mindful of that. This is, again, the entity that is clearly stalking and clearly stalking with the demons who are stalking with audible activity. She's going to a mental asylum. This is going to be used to diagnose her and treat her inside of the mental asylum. And the demon gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department presents evidence against her and everybody else. They're all going to prison. They're all going to prison. This is removing Paul Leon, Alan D. Wapner, and Jim, all the rest of those demons from the position that they sit on at the Ontario City Council because they know about the stalking by the Ontario Police. And so do you. I have hundreds of videos of the Ontario Police Department being demons flying in circles over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And this is what they're doing, pacing. That's a demon that's pacing in a helicopter. All right, the entity is, pacing on the opposite side of the apartment complex. But I just want you to see here, here's a shadow. I've got multiple shadows. This is all engineer light. It's audible activity, relevant positioning, and light activity. So just want to document that. And simultaneity of that, while I'm speaking to, it's 9:55 p.m. and a police department is flying in circles, pacing over a senior citizen complex because those senior citizens are gang stalkers. And this is, again, the ongoing wealth of evidence that's going against the hitman, Tracy Banks. Tracy Banks is, again, acting in furtherance of murdering me. She is a hitman, and her position in my life is one that sought to maliciously murder me in concert with her relatives like Eric Spencer, who's engaged in that, aware of it, acting in conformity to it, and the gang stalking police departments, as I've shown, the pattern of conduct that the Los Angeles Police Department engaged in, as I'm showing you, for example, the specific environment in LA where the Los Angeles Police Department is engaging in the same thing that the Ontario Police Department is engaging, and they tend to engage in it also in a manner that is perceptible as I start documenting on my phone, speaking to the fact that Tracy Banks is a hitman. She is a serial killer. She's killed other people and doing so with the cover of the corrupt government who uses the police departments to monitor and stalk the person that Tracy Banks is targeting to murder them. And the people of the state that are acting in conformity to that pattern of conduct, that is engaging in the unabated psychological torture that the entity practices as a citywide effort, like the City of Ontario, like the demon in unit number 55, who's beating on the floor while I'm speaking to the fact that it's 9:55 p.m. and the Ontario police are pacing over a senior citizen complex in engineered light where the fake sun rises and sets, speaking to what is already known, that they're demons and that they're gang stalking as a police department. And they're doing so while I am using my device and capturing evidence about Tracee Banks, who is a hitman, who has murdered before, who does so in concert with the state. That is what I'm documenting, and this is evidence that's going toward that while literally the police engage in gang stalking in helicopters. And this is speaking to the entity that worships my genitalia. They spend thousands of dollars on a daily basis gang stalking and monitoring me in their commercial planes and in their helicopters, which is speaking to a statewide pattern of conduct where the entity is fully aware of the ongoing target on my life, which Tracee Banks is specifically and strategically placed in my life to murder me, and doing so under the cover of gang stalking. Where you're being psychologically targeted, where you're being harassed and terrorized, and it's supposed to create the illusion that you're mentally unstable. But again, I've already combated that and proven what the entity's purpose is and its tactics. But you're understanding the purpose behind it. And now at this point, now you're seeing how the demons are engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they intentionally and knowingly do so in furtherance of murdering me. That's the police that are gang stalking with Tracee Banks, a hitman, with the intent to have an American citizen murdered, which they have no intention of actually investigating that murder were it accomplished. They have no intention of actually solving that crime that they are, again, not ignorant about when they're gang stalking with the hitman. Okay, understand the entity that's going to federal prison, many of whom I've documented by badge number, engaging in kidnapping. That's the same Ontario Police Department. Just want you to hear this. That's pacing. And the demon in unit number 55 is also pacing. They're doing so in engineer light. They're doing so while I'm documenting them on my phone, which is speaking to federal stalking under Title 18. It's speaking to stalking under the Violence Against Women Act by the state. And it's also speaking to what is impunity, the intent to obstruct justice. And it's also evidence against the people of the state who are going to prison at Woodside Senior Apartments, including LYNDA Reyes and every other employee at AVANATH. And this is the criminal prosecution of the landlord, AVANATH Capital Management, in itself. Okay, its residents, its employees, and the public are gang stalking with the City of Ontario, the government, who's using planes and helicopters to target me with the hitman Tracee Banks. That crossing path on Vine Avenue are the elements of monitoring their gang stalking together as a whole citywide effort. That's why the fake sun rises and sets right here where I'm at. This is P.O.C. This is, again, 10 p.m. Everything that I'm documenting about the people of the state is the documentation of the state that is engaged in the program of targeting American citizens in order to murder them through their own relatives. Okay, and then they're not going to investigate that case. They're engaged in that ongoing target on their life. It's a statewide effort. It's currently 10:01 p.m. This is P.O.C. And this is in concert with the demon in unit number 55, license 5WUB715. Tracee Banks' license plate 9HUZ740. She is gang stalking, and she has the cover to commit malicious murder while she is gang stalking me with the entity that's targeting, psychologically targeting, doing so while she is waiting for the perfect circumstance to take my life. Also with the entity itself, the entity like the gang stalking police who are fully engaged in gang stalking, and while they target you, they are in every position and willing to, and in a position to murder you, and then claim that there is some reason why they took your life and engaged in that use of force against you while they're stalking the whole time. And that is proven by what is gang stalking in helicopter, which is, there's a body of evidence speaking to what the entity of the police departments are doing, and the Ontario Police Department just engaged in it again. This is evidence against AVANATH, that's gang stalking. This is evidence against AVANATH employees who are gang stalking. This is evidence against the people of the state residing at Woodside Senior Apartments who are gang stalking. And the demon, as of 8:47 p.m., pacing like a lap dog, and doing so the moment that I started recording on podcast, which is speaking to federal stalking that the Ontario Police Department are also engaged in. That's why the entity in Unit 55 stopped. This is what I already captured on podcast, so I'm going to review that right now. And as I continuously document and expound upon the reality that Tracee Banks is a hitman, she's engaging in what is a series of murders, and she has that history of accomplishing it, but she's not going to accomplish it with me. I'm prosecuting and exposing her, but this is how the system operates. And the people of the state, the gang stalking police departments, the corrupt cities that are gang stalking as a way of life in the city and in the county, they're aware of that. They're acting in conformity to this hitman's purpose to murder me, and doing so under the cover of the corrupt government. That is gang stalking. Okay? Tracee Banks is, again, I want to be clear, this is a somebody that is acting with the intent to take my life. And so it's no small thing. And you have the elderly at Woodside Senior Apartments acting with this hitman, Tracee Banks, and doing so with tremendous malice, absolute disregard for the humanity, for the rights of another, engaging in what is impunity, becoming more and more violent and threatening by stalking with the police because I'm documenting it. As I document, so the demons, so the murderous stalkers, the sex offenders, okay? These witches and warlocks, they engage in more of it. They engage in more violence. They engage in more psychologically harmful conduct as you document it. This is criminal activity against the company, against the entity itself, against the people of the state. Everybody in units 33 through 64 are going to prison. And that demon that's gang stalking in helicopters, they're going to prison. Their identity is going to be produced. There is no mystery here. This is speaking to what Tracee Banks is being prosecuted for. The entity is gang stalking on her behalf. Okay? It is currently, again, 10:04 p.m. This is P.O.C.